Mailbag time here on the Cleveland Browns Report. Welcome on in. I'm going to be answering questions that came in during our live show, which airs every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. First question coming in via Super Chat from Braden. After the first round, do you think the Browns are going to go O-line heavy? Thinking or trying to think of what the Browns are going to do in the draft is an enigma. I'm not sure if they could have even solved it at Bletchley Park in the UK trying to crack the Nazi war machine. So the Browns are always unpredictable during the draft. No one really thought they'd go defensive tackle first last year, right? Some people did, but most people thought offensive line or maybe wide receiver. That didn't happen. The year before that, I guarantee you no one thought Cedric Tillman, the wide receiver from Tennessee, would be their first selection. And the year before that, no one really thought they'd go cornerback Martin Emerson. The Browns are big on drafting traits and drafting the best player available, which I do like. I like best player available mindset. So I would prefer they go offensive tackle if they don't go offensive line in round one, which I don't think they will / they should. Although Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, they love the Buckeyes, and he was having a really good year before his injury. So I could get behind that pick if they trade it back a little bit. So I'd be on board, though, Braden. But to give you a full answer, an honest answer, who knows what the Browns are going to do in round two. They do have the very first pick, though, in round two of the draft. Jaden, what are your thoughts on Mac Jones and free agency? I believe the Browns are going to do the following. Bring in 2 veteran quarterbacks, draft a quarterback, and retain DTR. They are going to have 4 quarterbacks on their roster during minicamp and OTAs and into training camp. Really 5 because Deshaun Watson will be on the PUP list. I'm okay with pretty much any veteran as long as there is an accompanying veteran to compete with. If the plan is to bring in Mac Jones and only Mac Jones, I don't think that's a very good plan. There is something about Mac Jones that makes me feel a little bit something inside because there were some good moments in New England. He had a very good, promising rookie campaign. So if it's Mac Jones or rookie and like Jameis Winston, I'm on board with that. Like you can pretty much come up with any combination of quarterbacks as long as there are 3 competing for the starting gig. I'm not going to be too upset about the 2 losers as long as the best guy wins the job. Excellent gamer. I like Abdul Carter round 1. Aireontae Ersery round 2 is an underrated player. That's the Minnesota left tackle. Round 3, Harold Fannin Jr. Went to Bowling Green. Very good tight end too, by the way. Or Henderson. I'm guessing we're talking about the running back if available. Round 3, Jalen Milroe to develop. How do you feel about that? I'm with you on 1, 2, and 3, honestly. The Bowling Green tight end, that's Harold Fannin Jr., a little undersized, and the Browns do tend to prioritize like age and RAS, relative athletic score. They love getting guys in the green that are super big, super fast, super strong, even if it means they aren't super productive. Example, Anthony Schwartz. As for Jalen Milroe, a round 3 pick is not one I'm going to go to battle over. I think he stinks. So you kind of had me up until that one. AFX, what's your opinion on Quinn Ewers? I think Quinn Ewers should have gone back to college. I think he should have transferred to like UNC, play under Bill Belichick, probably get $3-ish million in NIL money, maybe a little bit more. And that $3 million might be more than he makes his entire NFL career. I think it was a mistake for him to go into the NFL draft, and I would not be surprised if he were to back out after learning where they think he's going to go in the draft. As for the Browns, I don't think he's good enough for the 3rd round pick, but I wouldn't be shocked if having 2 3rd-rounders kind of gives them the confidence to take a shot at a quarterback, knowing if it doesn't work out, that wasn't our only 3rd-round draft pick, especially if they were to trade back from 2, acquire an additional 3rd or an additional 2nd. You feel a lot more confident about adding another bullet to the chamber, going, well, we've got one more, arrow in our quiver. If it doesn't work out, that wasn't our only chance at someone in round 3 or round 2. So overall, like prospect thoughts on Quinn Ewers, there are some similarities between him and like Stefanski's style of offense. He's not a shotgun spread offense type of quarterback, but he makes some really bad decisions with the football for a guy who's been in college for a little bit too long to make those poor decisions. And I don't know if those decisions are going to come out when he gets to the next level, but he's got the arm talent that are going to, catch some GM's eyes. Dallas, you're on screen. In my opinion, I think we should sign Khalil Mack to a 1-year deal in free agency to put next to 95 and trade back. Also, what are some slot receiver free agent targets not named Elijah Moore? All right, let me start with the Khalil Mack part right here. I don't think Khalil Mack is going to come to Cleveland. Like, that's the short way of putting it. The guy is contemplating retirement. If a team's going to swing him out of going to the retirement route, it's not a team coming off 3 wins. And it's not a team, I mean, I went to Buffalo, so kind of in the same neck of the woods, I guess, but he's from Florida. So I don't think it's going to be the Browns if he decides to come out of or not retire and play another season. As for free agent targets, let me look it up right now. All right, here we go. Some free agent wide receivers in the slot. Deontay Johnson. No, that's not happening. I mean, there's not a lot of great slot options this upcoming free agency cycle. Josh Palmer from the Chargers, I think he's going to get a decent contract. I think he's probably going to get a 3-year, $30 to $35 million deal. And I don't think the Browns are going to have that deep of pockets for a number 3 receiver. So that's one name. My guess is it's going to be Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, and a little bit of a platoon of rookies as the Browns don't need to invest big at wide receiver while they're still searching for the quarterback. You want to get those two teams or those two things synced up at the right time. AFX, why don't you go ahead and tell the viewers at home about today's video sponsor? Use this for the mailbag. Well, AFX, I sure will. Today's sponsor is Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really enjoy about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Soul Train. Reaching for a knee resulted in getting Justin Gilbert, Johnny Manziel, Corey Coleman, Jabril Peppers, and Jed Wills, hoping for a positive change. I completely agree and echo this thought right here. I've said this before, and I'm kind of becoming a bit of a broken record. I'm beating a dead horse here, but if you want the Browns to take a quarterback second overall, it has to be because you really like the prospect you're taking. You're not just looking at it going, well, they need a quarterback, so let's take one. You better value the second overall pick enough where you don't just take one because you need one. I mean, this is not a thrift store. This is the NFL draft. You're picking second overall. Go take a prospect that you think is going to be on this team for the next 10 to 15 years. That is the expectation when you get to pick second of all 32 teams. For all the players in the draft, you better find the second best player. Joshua Miller, is DTR worth keeping as a cheap third QB? No, I'm done on DTR. I didn't think DTR really stood much of a chance, like being a legit starter going into this year. There were some people that were really upbeat on DTR, and I kind of learned after his first year that he was not going to be an actual NFL starter. So he's not an NFL starter, and right now the Browns are looking for one. So I'm not willing to waste a roster spot on someone who's not a starter, and the Browns are searching for one. Declan, pick Travis Hunter, or we should pick Genty if we trade back. Travis Hunter is someone that is a super fun prospect, and if I say anything negative, I sound like an idiot. But as much as there is to like about him, I am a little bit concerned about what his role will be in the NFL if he plays just one way, and the justification to take him second overall was because of how electric he was in college when he played both ways. But when he gets to the NFL, he's not going to play both ways. If he just played corner at Colorado, would you take him second overall? My guess is no. Probably not. And if he's only going to play corner in the NFL, well, we should look at him as just Travis Hunter, the corner, not Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner, because he played both ways. It's like if you find a really cool baseball prospect that can pitch and hit, but you only plan to pitch him, then I don't want to hear about his batting stats because he's not going to be a batter. So that's my, I won't say beef, but the thing I get hung up on with Travis Hunter, and that's why I'd rather go Abdul Carter. As for Ashton Jeanty, if they trade back, I feel like the Browns have other needs to fill first. I'd rather go out and get like Will Johnson or Mason Graham or maybe like Josh Simmons, Kelvin Banks, attack those cornerstone pieces. And then in round 2, open up day 2 of the NFL draft by selecting Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, who had an awesome season for the Hawkeyes, and you just kind of got lost in the mix of not being named Ashton Jeanty. Cameron, trade with Seattle, draft Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer, I think, is going to go right at that end of round 1, early round 2 era. I think he might sneak into round 1. He may not be a prolific athlete, but the guy has incredible motor. You can't deny that. And he's just a bit of I won't say a game wrecker, but kind of like he's a playmaker. I would not be upset if the Browns ended up with Jack Sawyer one way or another. I think he's going to make a good NFL player. I feel like the determination, the effort he brings every single play, every single snap, it's clear and obvious to me. That's a pick I can get behind. Weston, do you think that Josh Dobbs could be a good veteran QB option for this offseason? I do think so. He's got, obviously the ties to Cleveland playing here. He knows Stefanski. He knows the offense. I do wonder if you know what his ceiling is with this team, would you rather pursue other options if, kind of like DTR, if you don't think he can really be a starter, then I'm not really interested. Because I'm only interested in bringing in 3 guys who you think can actually start for this team. And if you already know Dobbs is more cut out to be a backup than a true starter, then let's not waste our time here. Because what I don't want to have happen is Dobbs comes in and Kirk Cousins comes in, and Cousins doesn't play all that well. And you're like, well, I guess we'll go with Dobbs, but we didn't sign Dobbs to really be the team starter. But Cousins is not looking any better than the way he ended 2024. Slow but sure. Sup, Petey? Been a rough year. Hope next year is somewhat better. I'm with you, dude. The beauty of the NFL is the parity is unmatched. People go from worst to first, first to worst all the time. Take the Texans. They are picking second overall, and just 9 months later, 10 months later, 8 months later, they were winning a playoff game against the Browns. So, crazy things happen. To wrap up our mailbag, let's pick a card here. Reed, which card would you like to go with?
Let's go with, I feel like 5 of spades.
5 of spades. I'm going to go with 8 of hearts. No. 10 of diamonds. 10 of diamonds. Okay. That will do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see everyone later.